But it's so hard because, especially now, we're being asked to do more than ever before. I'm an extremist, and so it's like working out. I'm either working out every single day for an hour, or I'm not working out at all, and I'm eating the Cheez-Its I found in the couch. I mean, it's just...
Hey y'all, and welcome to the Christy Wright Show. I'm so excited because today we are talking about 5 ways that you can stop stressing about your house. Do you need that? I need that. And then I got to sit down with my good friend, author, speaker, and simplicity expert, Emily Ley. She is my good friend, and she always helps me get more organized. We're going to be talking about how to do that and about her new book, Growing Boldly. But first, let's talk about 5 simple, practical ways that you can stop stressing about your house. I don't know if you're like this, but here is something I've noticed about myself. I feel like the state of my house. That can be a good thing, or more often than not, it's a bad thing. If my house is put together, I feel put together. If my house is a wreck, I feel like a wreck. And with 3 little kids under age 6, more often than not, my house is a wreck. That's why I'm always looking for ways to simplify, get organized, get caught up, and get it together. I want to give you 5 simple things that you can do to help you put this into practice where you can stop stressing so much about your house like maybe you have been, and I certainly have been in the past. The first one is this: create systems and schedules. Now, if you're like me and you are a creative or you're a free spirit, you probably don't like rules, routines, systems, schedules. But here's the thing. These systems, these schedules, simply are a means to an end. They are the way you get organized. They are the way you get it together. They are the way you get the result you want. So what does that look like for you? What are your routines around your house with cleaning, organizing, laundry, dishes? I'll give you a practical example. For me, if I do not spend my Sunday night getting caught up for the week ahead, my week is a disaster. I'm coming from behind, things seem to compound, and the laundry just explodes. The dishes are unending, and the mess just continues to grow. So laundry, for example. Sunday night is my night to get caught up with laundry. That is the night I fold the laundry, put all the laundry in all the respective rooms, put them in the closets, put them in the shelves, put them in the drawers, and get caught up. So let me just tell you what happens when I don't do this. When I don't spend my Sunday nights doing my laundry routine, putting everything away for the week ahead. I fall into this terrible pattern where my laundry goes from on the bed because why? I have great intentions to fold it that night. But then I get home. I'm tired. It's time for bed. I don't want to fold the laundry. So what do? I just move it to the floor. I think, tomorrow. I'll fold it tomorrow. I will fold it tomorrow. Sure, I will. Next morning, wake up. Carter's screaming. Conley doesn't have clean clothes. Where's my sweatshirt? Where's my uniform? Where's my khaki bib? I'm throwing things. Things are going on the floor. Where's the laundry? I don't know. And then it's on the floor. Now we need to put this back together for the next day, right? Oh, wait, let me put it back. Hang on. Let me just put this back. You know what? I'm gonna move it a little higher on my bed. I'm gonna move it like on my pillow because can't lay my head on the pillow unless I complete this basket of laundry. And then that night, I go upstairs. Sure enough, ready to go to bed. Not tonight. Nope. That sucker's going back on the floor. And we do this routine from the bed to the floor, from the bed to the floor, until all the laundry is so dirty, it's just ready to go back to the laundry room and get washed again. Let me tell you something. I have a way of getting through laundry if I don't do my perfect Sunday night routine. That system just sucks. Guys, that one simple thing of having a Sunday night system to get caught up has saved me so much stress throughout the week. So what does that look like for you? What simple system or schedule or routine do you want to set to make your life easier for the rest of the week? Maybe on Sundays, you do meal planning and you plan out what you're going to cook for dinner every single night of the week. Maybe every evening you pack lunches for the day ahead for your kids. Maybe it's something simple and practical. Maybe it's something that just gives you a sense of sanity in your day and your home and in your life. When you create systems and schedules and routines in your home, it's one simple way to help you stop stressing about your house. The second thing that you can do is to get help and delegate. Now, here's the thing. Your family is capable of helping you with the house. Did you know that? Did you? Because here's what I tend to do more often than not. I do everything and then I'm really grouchy about it because I didn't ask for help. Now, when you ask for help and your husband steps in and loads the dishwasher for you, does he do it different than you? Sure does. Does it wrong? For sure. You could organize those cups so much more efficiently. It is adult Tetris. And didn't you know the bowls go on the bottom? Do you know how many more things you could fit if you would do it my way? But you know what? Having help is a lot better than living your life stressed and hateful. Let your family help. Let your husband load that dishwasher however he wants to. Because let me tell you something, those dishes are getting clean either way. Even if it's not your way, even if it's not the right way, it will still get done and it will save you so much stress and time when you allow people to come around you and help you. And you know what else? Your kids can help you. Your kids can do more than you realize. And with little kids that are getting a little bit older, a little bit more independent, I'm learning this every day. The other day, for example, Carter wanted to go to my mom's house to play. But before I would let him go, I said, well, you have to clean your room and you have to take all your stuff on the stairs upstairs and put it away. Yeah, I said it. Now, I had no idea what was going to happen. I had no idea when I made this request, this requirement of my 6-year-old son, if he would do it or if he would give up. He didn't really want to go to Grammys. He was going to get distracted by Legos. Who knew? Wouldn't you know? 20 minutes later, that child's room was clean and the stairs were cleaned off as well. When you ask your family to help you or delegate when you can and should to your children, it saves you time and peace of mind. It saves you that stress you'd been feeling when you try to do everything yourself. So the second way that you can stop stressing about your house is to get help and delegate. The third way that you can stop stressing is to know what to fight for and know what to let go. Everything is not important. If everything's important, nothing is. So you need to know what's important to you, what's really important, and then fight for those things. What does that look like for you? Is it Sunday night dinner around the dinner table? That is really important to you, so you want to make sure you have time on Sunday to cook a great meal, have the house clean, and sit down to a sit-down dinner. If that's important to you, then fight for that. Make that a priority and make it happen. Maybe for you, it's something else. Maybe for you, all you need to feel okay in your world is you are going to have your kitchen clean. Everything else can be a little crazy, but the kitchen where you cook needs to stay at least somewhat clean. Okay, that's good to know because you can fight to keep that room clean, and other stuff you can have a little bit of grace and let that stuff go. I've used this example before, but I've chosen which rooms I fight for and which rooms I let go. And that has given me such peace of mind when I walk in the rooms that are maybe not as clean to know I don't have to feel guilty. I don't have to feel like I'm failing. I'm choosing to let those rooms go because I'm going to focus my attention and my energy to what's more important to me. Do this in your own home. What's important to you? Fight for those things. What can you let go? Find a way to let them go and find grace there. Which brings me to your fourth way to stop stressing about your house. Have grace for the season you're in. The season you're in will affect what your home looks like. For example, if you are in a season of traveling all the time, you're probably living out of a suitcase, you've got laundry that's always in transition, and things are probably not very clean, and you probably don't have a lot of food in the pantry. That's okay. That doesn't mean you're failing. It's a reflection of the season you're in where you're traveling all the time. Maybe you're in a season like I am with little kids, and there's just crumbs everywhere. No matter how much you clean, it doesn't matter if you have a Roomba, it doesn't matter how hard you work, there's going to be crumbs. Now, I could look at those crumbs and feel like a failure, and I have before. But now what I try to do is remind myself I am in a season of little kids. These little kids make a mess. I am not a mess. When you remember the season you're in, it helps you find grace for yourself, and also it helps you find the strength you need to get through any of the challenges you might face as a result of that season, how it affects you and how it affects your home. And finally, the fifth way that you can stop stressing about your house is probably the most simple, but it's also the most powerful. Focus on the good. Focus on what is right. Recently I was scrolling through my phone, looking at old pictures, trying to find a specific picture of my son for something I was doing. When I was scrolling through these old pictures from a few years ago, I came across a series of pictures of our house before we got it remodeled. Now, the remodel was pretty light in the grand scheme of things. We didn't gut it. We didn't do anything major. We just hired a handyman to help us put in some new floors and freshen up the paint on the walls. But y'all, the transformation was huge. If I'm not careful, I'm always focused on what's still wrong about my house, what I want to fix about my house, what I wish were better or different or newer or bigger or fancier about my house. And I will totally miss all of the things that are right and good and awesome, all of the things that I had wanted for so long, like new floors and fresh paint that look so good that we work so hard for. So what about you? What's right about your house? Sometimes I get discouraged because our house is older. It was built in the early 80s, and there's some things about it that just bug me. But when I shift my focus to the good in my house, to what's right about my house, I could go on for days. We have the greatest neighbors in the entire world. I never want to move because I love them so much. I love that this is the home we brought all 3 children home to from the hospital. I love that this house is perfectly located between my husband's work, my work, and my kids' school. I love that this house gives us this huge playroom to play in, a big backyard, and mature trees that give us awesome shade. I could go on and on about the awesome things about our house. That's why simply focusing on the good changes everything, not only about how we feel about our house, but the level of stress that we feel as well. So the fifth way that you can stop stressing about your house is to focus on the good. Like we've talked about before, in anything in life, you'll always find what you're looking for. So look for the right things. Y'all, when you do these 5 things, these 5 simple, practical things, from setting up systems and routines to help you reduce stress, or asking for help and delegating, or having grace for the season that you're in, to focusing on the good and knowing what to fight for and what to let go of, these things can help you reduce your stress when it comes to your house, and it will help you enjoy your life a whole lot more.
We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs.
We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org.
We absolutely believe in it.
All right, y'all, I'm so excited to sit down again with my good friend, author, speaker, and simplicity expert, Emily Ley. Emily, thanks for hanging out.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited about this. I never get tired of talking to you about all the things you know, because you are so smart when it comes to simplicity and organization. But before we dive into this, let's just talk about busy moms. You're one of them. I'm one of them. But even if you're not a mom, different seasons of life, man, it feels like the chores, daily rhythms, household, all these things not only overwhelm us, they really affect our sense of balance and even our sense of enjoying our lives. So why do you love to talk about this topic? And why is it so hard for us? What's the deal?
I love this stuff so much because I live it. I mean, I have a
Same.
10-year-old. He turned 10 a couple weeks ago. And I have 2 6-year-olds. And I'm a working mom, and I got a lot going on. And here we are living in these times where sometimes we have kids home and COVID and all the things. And I love this stuff so much because I know how much simpler we can make our lives when we're intentional about the way that we live them and the way that we are proactive about them rather than reactive. But it's so hard because, especially now, we're being asked to do more than ever before.
Yeah, and all these worlds are colliding, just like you said, between homeschooling, working from home, all these things are happening in the 4 walls of our house.
Yes.
And even if you've got a great house, suddenly that house feels very small when everything is happening inside there. You know, I had this aha moment, I guess in probably the last year. I said this to my husband. I said, I realize that I feel like the state of my house. So if my house is good, I'm good. If my house is a wreck,
clutter.
I am a wreck. And it's funny because I feel like, especially in this season that I'm in with little kids, you know, my oldest is 6.
Yeah.
Then my expectations of myself have to be realistic, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to try. And I think one of the things that I struggle with, that a lot of women struggle with, is similar to working out or anything. We're all or nothing. We're either cleaning everything, we're cleaning baseboards, we're wearing ourselves out, not getting any sleep because we're trying so hard to get ahead of the mess, or we're like, I give up. Just let them run wild. Let there be Cheez-Its in the couch. I don't even care anymore. I'm so tired.
I don't care.
And you, what I love about you, Emily, is your teaching and your principles and your practices are so practical, but they're also really doable. They're they're not so overwhelming that can't be maintained. So talk a little bit about that busy person that might swing to the extremes of wearing themselves out to an unrealistic perfect standard, which I know you talk about that.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, I'm just going to give up. But then you are unhappy in your home because it's a huge wreck. What does that look like to find the sustainable middle? Help us with that.
I am that girl. I mean, my husband will tell you I'm an extremist. And so it's like working out. I'm either working out every single day for an hour and I'm just killing it, or I'm not working out at all and I'm eating the Cheez-Its I found in the couch. I mean, it's just, that's life. And so I have to have systems that give me a whole lot of grace and that don't have to be perfect all the time. I mean, I don't know why, but the 4 people other than me who live in this house want my house to look like they actually live in it. I mean, I'm ready for it to be magazine worthy at all times.
Same. Yeah.
And if it was just me here, it would be that way. But they live here and they eat here and sometimes they have school here. And so I think it's just so important to have kind of that standard where we say, okay, at the end of every day, this is where I want to get my house back to, or this is where I want my habits to be, or my routines to be. And we may not always be perfect there, but here's what they should look like. Here's what I want them to look like in this season of life. And so we kind of give ourselves a little bit of grace in it. But I'm all for an inspirational story or those really beautiful pantry pictures on Instagram or whatever. I'm all for it. They fire me up. They get me excited. But tell me how to do it, Yeah. Tell me how to actually do it in my daily life. So we do things like, at the end of every day, we have a big laundry basket, and my kids, my husband and I will walk our whole house, the living areas. We'll pick up everything that's out of place and put it in the laundry basket. It's so easy, your 2-year-old can help. And you take it, and then you dump it out on the floor, sort it by room, and everybody puts it away. That way, when you wake up the next morning, you are ready for a fresh start. You're ready to tackle the day. You're not super annoyed like I get about all the Legos on the floor. Those kinds of things, they matter and they add up when you do them little by little by little.
Yeah, and that's one of your big things I've noticed is a lot of your advice is little. It's just little advice. I remember you saying, do a small load of laundry a day. I've applied that concept to my dishwasher. It's like, I'm going to run the dishwasher even if it's not totally full just because, oh my gosh, let's have it be clean rather than wait till it builds up at a bad time and then I don't ever run it and don't have any clean dishes and the pile in the sink is, a surmountable mountain. And so I think these idea of little practices is such a simple idea. Why do you think we miss that? A lot of those ideas, you're going once you teach me or teach your followers, you're like, laundry basket, pick it up. Okay, that makes sense. Why do you think we miss that when we're so busy living our lives?
Because I think we want a quick fix. I mean, even when I created the Simplified Planner forever ago, I remember walking through Target looking for the solution to my busy life as a new mom and a business owner, because that's where you find all solutions to life, in the aisles of Target.
Sure.
And I remember walking and being like, I just need something that will fix it. And what I realized is I didn't need a fantastic tool. I needed a simple tool that I could then make work for our lives and start implementing practices and habits that would then just become our daily rhythms. And so I think we just have to focus on the little things rather than that, achieving that big, quick, fresh start or that big, quick fix, because that's it's not sustainable, number one, and it really just doesn't exist. So by adding these little things as they relate to wellness or housekeeping or even like taking vitamins every day or the way that we are doing our work, all of those little bitty things, they add up to so much in the long run if we try to remain consistent with them.
Yeah, it's so true too, because it gives you a sense of control. And I think for me, one of the things I've noticed is when it comes to household stuff or anything in life, when I'm tired, I don't have any energy to think of a new way to do things. So I'm just going to keep doing it the old way, which sucks and is not fun and doesn't work, because I don't have the mental energy to think of a new solution. And that's what I love about so much of what you do is, whether it's on your social media pages or through your books or through your planners, you just give really simple tips that when someone reads it, they're like, oh yeah, pick it up at the end of the day. Okay. It seems so
Absolutely.
It seems so simple, but that's what people need when they're tired and don't have much energy. Okay, talk to the mom that's going, Emily, I feel hopeless right now. Like, my house is a wreck, my kids are a wreck, my life is overwhelming. Where do I start? Because we know that we all get in that place. And when you are overwhelmed, you can't think straight, you can't make good decisions, and you can't even think about doing a load of laundry because you're like, my laundry pile is so big, I can't even think about a small load right now. Talk to that person that might be feeling hopeless. Where does she start? What is a simple thing she can do to start?
Such a good question. And I remember feeling this way many times last year when we had 3 kids who were homeschooling and I had book deadlines and things I was working on. And I mean, I couldn't think about laundry. I was just trying to think about surviving, till the afternoon, till Brian got home. And so I totally get it. I think that the most tactical thing that you can do to achieve a little bit of a change or get a little bit ahead of things is just to give yourself permission to step away for 10 minutes. And we all say, well, I don't have 10 minutes. I'm trying to do all these things. But if you think about how much time you spend scrolling on your phone or aimlessly, watching Netflix at night or whatever, we can all carve out 10 minutes, even if you have to lock yourself in your closet with little fingers under the doors, which is what happens at my house. But give yourself just a little bit of time to, I think the best thing you can do is take inventory of what's going on in your life in that particular season, and then decide what you're going to say yes and no to. And you don't have to say no forever to certain things, but you can say, not right now. In this season, my plate is too full. I can't do all the things, and so I'm going to do what matters, and I'm going to let the rest fall away, and I'll pick it back up when the timing is right.
Yeah, I love that advice. A couple years ago, and I've talked about this on the show before, but I realized I had this aha moment after just months and years of trying so hard to keep my whole house clean or get it clean at the same time. I realized that was actually an impossible task. My house will never all be clean at the same time. It's either upstairs or downstairs, never all at the same time. And so as simple as it was, instead of always feeling guilty for the part of my house that wasn't clean that I never got to, because by the time I cleaned it, the other part was messy, I decided to choose what I'm going to fight for and what I'm going to let go. And so I kind of picked my rooms. I'm going to fight for the living room, the kitchen, and my bedroom, because that's where I spend the most time. And I want to feel like a sane person in those rooms. So I fight really hard for 3 rooms. The other rooms I let go. And so if I walk in the playroom and it's covered in toys, I don't feel guilty anymore, because I'm like, I chose that mess because I realized that that is something that is not a priority to me. The things that are a priority are happening, and I'm going to work. So I love that advice, because it gives you a realistic expectation of yourself versus this standard of perfection that I'm going to expect it to look like Pinterest, and when it doesn't, I'm disappointed. And everyone watching and listening right now might be like, well, I don't really expect it to look like Pinterest. You're like, but you do, because you're working your behind off trying to make it look like that. So you obviously are pushing yourself to maintain some level that is exhausting you. Talk a little bit about that, because you talk about this idea of grace over perfection. Talk about that concept, because I think that plays into this in a really important way.
Yeah, back in 2015, I had infant twins and I had a 4-year-old, and I was the same way. We had just moved into a new house and I wanted it to be pretty all the time. I wanted my office to always be straight. I wanted the kitchen to always be, super clean when I walked into it so that I felt like I could take a breath because I was doing a whole lot. And what I realized was if we just allow ourselves to kind of sit in the mess sometimes and realize that this is just life and everyone's life looks like this, it's okay. I think the standard of perfection that we feed ourselves is just one big lie. And we, especially with the onslaught of social media becoming just so normal, such a normal part of our lives, we look at people on the internet and we think, well, they're doing all of it well. They're doing all of life well, with heels on, with perfect hair, with 3 kids following behind them, and it's not true. Nobody's doing that. I think it's also so important that we don't just try to keep things perfect, but we're constantly reevaluating, especially as kids get older or our lives change or we evolve or the world changes. One thing that we do in our family is talk about pain points. And for us, that's very tactical and simple things like a pain point in my house is getting 3 kids out the door in the morning when they're going to school in person. It's getting them out the door. Okay, well, what can I do to make that go a little bit better? Well, I can back up 10 steps, and the night before I can teach them how to lay out their uniforms, their clothes for the day. Make sure you know where your shoes are. Oh my goodness, if my house will burn down if somebody can't find a shoe. I mean, it is just a mess. Happened to us the other day. But we just step, a few steps back and think, how can I alleviate those pain points and make things easier? We have baskets by our front door where my kids, they know when they get home, you put your shoes in the basket so that tomorrow morning you know where your shoes are.
Right,
Those
what a
types
concept.
of little things, what a concept. Those kinds of little things, they add up to so much. And there's a quote from the book Atomic Habits, and I'm gonna butcher this quote. The guy's name is James Clear, but he says, every decision we make, every big or little decision is a vote for the type of life we want to have.
I love that.
And I just think that's so profound that the big decisions obviously, shape the trajectory of our lives, but these little things that we do, they add up so much in shaping what our lives actually look like at the end of the day.
Yeah, and how we feel about them, how we experience them, how we experience our minutes, our days, our weeks, our years. That's making up our life, and it's either making us have the life we want to have or not, and be the person we want to be or not. I'm not a nice person when my house is a mess and everybody's in a rush. I'm like, can we all help the house and the rush to help me be nice to you? This would be a win-win for everybody.
It's so true. On that note, everybody chooses a word of the year. Yeah. Well, this year, last year was just so interesting for all of us. And I learned just so many lessons, but very quickly that if I'm not putting my oxygen mask on first, I'm not a nice person to anybody, not people I work with, not people who live in my house. And so I decided for this year, I was going to choose me first. And it sounds like, as a mom, it sounds weird to say that.
No,
it sounds selfish or the wrong thing. But
no, I love it.
This year was like, I'm going to choose me. When I have a couple minutes, I'm going to think, what's best for me right now?
Right.
And what would happen? I've done it the other way. So let's just see if I, little by little, chose me over and over again. And what I realized is it makes me so much better for my people.
Yes.
So much better. So by choosing me with all the little choices, by taking care of myself, by making myself get on that Peloton and work out a little bit, or even just eating breakfast. I skip breakfast all the time. Doing things like that, they help me be happier and be better for those people. So I'm serving them in a way by doing that.
I love that concept because I think we've gotten that so wrong, especially in the church. We have this serve others, which is not wrong. But if you're serving others and you're a huge jerk, you're missing it. It's like if you're serving others and you have this wonderful heart and you're in a good mood and you're serving from a place of strength where everyone's being blessed, by all means, serve. Most of us act like doormats and we live our lives rushed and running ragged. And when we're busy and burnt out and all these things and we're grumpy everyone loses and they're like, oh, I'm a martyr. I just can't help it. I just put everyone first. We're like, please don't, because you'll be nicer if you don't. Please just like eat breakfast, get on your Peloton, be a nicer person. We would prefer that, actually. So I think moms need to get that. I think we all need to remember that it's not selfish, it's self-preservation, and it's smart, and it blesses everyone around you when you take those times to do those things that make you happy. And here's the thing, Emily, and you and I both have talked about this before at Business Boutique, but no one can do it for you. Your husband can't do that for you. Your kids can't do that for you. Are responsible for being a person you like, for making yourself happy, doing those things. I'm responsible for me. So no matter how much my husband tells me I look pretty, if I don't feel pretty, I don't act like it. It's all comes back to how I treat myself, take care of myself, and make myself a person that is a nice person that people actually want to be around.
Because you can be a good mom all day long, but if you're grumpy all the time, what's the point?
Yeah, nobody wants that. That was
me for a little while.
Same. You know? Yeah, and it's easy to slip into that because of these rhythms. You know, I love how the advice that you have is so simple and so practical, but it has real results. Like you said, it's a vote for how you want to live your life. When you're talking about the baskets by the door, I thought about a meme I saw on Instagram a while back that said, no one is more disillusioned than a mom who puts piles on the stairs, hoping someone's going to take them upstairs. No, they won't. No, they won't. It's going to be you taking them upstairs.
It's going to be you. I do it all the time. In fact, I think I did it last night.
But I love the idea of even talking about pain points, like, hey, what's hard for you, what's hard for me, and then having that open communication to work towards solutions versus staying in the rut. Everybody's grumpy. You stay in the rut, and you can't seem to get yourself out of it. This is so helpful, Emily. I'm curious, how do you feel like, you and I have talked about this topic of balance. I've got a book coming out in September on balance, so I've been deep in the research for this topic. Yeah. And we talk about the topic in different ways. Most people say, how do you balance it all? Like that this is an action. That's actually how I'm not looking at the topic that way. I'm looking at it like, how do I create balance in my life? And how do I feel balanced? Which is very different than how do I balance it all. I'm curious for you, how do you feel like that organization and your home affects your sense of balance? Affects your ability to feel balanced in your own life?
Yeah. You know, I think physical clutter is mental clutter, at least for me.
I love your quote when you say that. Yes.
Oh my gosh. It really is. And so I know I'm not just serving my family when I like straighten up at night after everybody goes to bed. I'm serving myself. And I just, when I'm intentional about those things, and my house is by no means perfect, but when I'm intentional about those things, it's almost like it is. It's a vote for me. It's a vote for, I want my well-being tomorrow to be balanced, to feel like I'm a little bit more capable. I'm a little bit more prepared. I'm a little bit more on top of things. I like feeling that way. I think it's also important to kind of embrace who you are. If you're a little bit of a neat freak, that's cool. That's who you are. That's who I am. Sure. I think those little quirks make us who we are. And when we recognize them and we name them and then we honor them about ourselves, that's really valuable, you know?
I like that. That's really encouraging, I think, for everybody listening, for the creative that wants a little bit of a mess, and for the Monica's on Friends that want it to be perfect. Like, it's like, hey, it's okay to be who you are. And so I love that. I love that reminder. I have a question for you. You have a new book that releases today, which I'm so excited for you. Congratulations on book launch day. Tell us about your new book. I don't have a copy in front of me, but I want to hear all about it. Tell our viewers and listeners about it.
Yes. Well, if you're watching, this is what it looks like. It is a beautiful yellow book. It is called Growing Boldly, Dare to Build a Life You Love. And I wrote this book because I felt this fire in me that wanted to get out, that wanted to tell the world, all those books out there that tell you to hustle till it hurts, to be a boss babe, to whatever. Those are all well and good, but if you aren't digging in and connecting to your core and going through a process of self-discovery and implementing systems that work and balancing the hard work, the sweat, with real nourishment and truth and rest, you will burn out. And so it's this really deep dive into what it looks like to actionably build a life you love. And I love, kind of like we said, I love a good inspirational story, but like, tell me how to do it.
That's right. You know? Steps.
Yes, I need action steps. And so the book is full of worksheets. It's actually built on an acronym I created around the word build. And I have loved the word build. It's been my word of the year for many years because it's actionable. It talks about actually creating something with your hands, building something. And so I created an acronym around that. And it's the letters of the word build. And the entire book is written around this framework in 5 sections. So the B stands for believe in who you are and whose you are. So understanding where your worth comes from, where your truth comes from. And then the U stands for utilize what you have. A lot of us aren't even aware of all the resources at our disposal, whether your life you love looks like creating a business, or it looks like nurturing your marriage, or creating a beautiful home for your family. Whatever that is, you have more resources than you realize. The I stands for imagine the life you want. And what that means is visualization, mapping and painting what that life actually looks like so that you know where you're going and can create that roadmap to get there. Then the L is love people well. And including this section was so important to me because we can and have the responsibility to live and fulfill our own potential, but we also have this responsibility to love others well, to build community, to be part of the kingdom of God in positive ways. And then the D is do what matters, forget the rest. And I love ending on that section because it's so paramount to all the concepts we talk about in the book, about choosing minute by minute what matters most and unapologetically letting the rest fall away.
I love that. I love that. You're speaking my language, Emily. You and I are cut from the same cloth. Literally everything I wrote about coming out in September is like, figure out what matters. Stop doing what doesn't matter. Create a calendar. It's all about what matters. It's like, it's all, but it's like you're saying, it's like, to me, that is where you feel. I love how you said your core. Reflect on your core and build your life from there, not just going through the motions. And I'm so excited for you. Okay, I'm doing something new on the show. If you're game, I want to do a rapid fire and ask you a bunch of random questions before we wrap up.
Oh, I love these. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, first thing you do in the morning.
I take a bath. It's true. I read the New York Times in the bathtub.
I did not see that coming. Didn't see that coming. First time I've had that answer.
My husband thinks I'm crazy.
Great.
But it wakes me
up.
Great.
Okay, a product that you're loving right now.
Okay, it's kind of expensive. It's totally worth it. It's called Vintner's Daughter. And it's this serum that's really clean and you put it on your face and it's basically angel's tears. It's magic.
Oh, I can't wait. You should be a spokesperson for it.
I know.
Favorite thing to do with your kids?
Oh my gosh. Okay, right now our favorite thing to do is to go, we live on the bay in Pensacola and we take like bread that's going bad and we go out and we throw it in the sky. And there's no birds yet, but if you wait like 2 minutes and you keep throwing the bread in the sky, hundreds of seagulls come. It's
how fun.
Bananas.
That
we love it. It's our favorite thing.
It sounds like a scene from a Nicholas Sparks movie.
Or an Alfred Hitchcock movie, but yeah.
Okay, your least favorite chore or house, whatever, cleaning task?
Taking out the trash because our house is built on pilings because we're on the water and hurricanes and all that. And so we have a trash compactor. And so it like compacts the trash and it's very heavy. And then we have to take it downstairs all the time. And it's just annoying.
That does sound not fun. Okay, last one. What is one thing that makes you feel balanced?
One thing that makes me feel balanced, space in the house, like margin.
That's good.
Tactically, I would say something that makes me feel balanced is giving myself permission to take a nap. Like if I have a couple minutes and I am like a little bit overwhelmed or having a rough day and I just give myself permission to go and close my eyes and not look at a screen and not talk to anybody, and just 5 minutes, 10 minutes to just blank and remember what matters, that gives me more power, I think, over my day.
I love it. Emily, you are such a light. You're such a you're so smart in this space, but you're such a great friend to me. Thanks for sharing your wisdom today. Congratulations on your book launch. Tell people where they can get the book and follow you and see everything you're doing.
Yes. Oh, you can get the book at all the places. All the places books are sold. And you can find me at emilyley.com, Emily Ley on Instagram, also Simplified. And then we just released a brand new podcast also called The Simplified Podcast. You can find me there too.
Oh my gosh, I will have to check it out. Awesome. You are amazing. Thank you, Emily. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, Easter is such a special time and I love sharing the Easter story with my kids. But as you can imagine, sometimes that conversation can get a little tricky. That's why I love Minnow. Minnow has shows that kids love with values that parents trust. And with a ton of episodes specifically on Easter, they help me answer all of my kids' questions about God. Celebrate Easter in a new way with your family this year with Minnow. You can go to gominnow.com or download the Minnow app. And if you use the code Christy, you'll get your first month free. All right, y'all, I would love to share a verse with you from Philippians. This is Philippians 4:11. It says, I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I love this verse, especially in light of what we're talking about. When you think about your home, imagine how much time you spend there. You spend a lot of your life in your home. Now, your home doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be always perfectly clean, and mine certainly rarely is. It doesn't have to be something out of Pinterest. It doesn't have to be exactly your dream home. But I do think your home should be a place that you love. Now, maybe you love it because you make some changes or improvements. Maybe you rearrange the furniture and decorations you already have to make it feel new. Maybe you invest in a few small, inexpensive pieces or decorations that make you love it a little bit more. Maybe you just get a few nice candles to burn because it makes you feel more relaxed. Whatever it looks like for you, it's worth finding a way to love your home. Your home should be a place that you can rest and renew your energy and feel at ease and feel at peace. But for many of us, our home is the exact opposite. Our home is a source of stress and guilt and worry. We always feel like we're coming from behind, and we always feel like there's more to do. That's why I love this verse in Philippians, especially in light of what we're talking about today, because it's talking about contentment, being content whatever the circumstances. Being content in any home, a small home or a big home, an old home or a new home, your ideal home, or maybe one that is just a safe place for you to feel warm and be with your family right now. I don't know what your circumstances are, and I don't know what your home represents to you, but I hope that in this episode, we've encouraged you to find ways to reduce your stress about your home and find ways to love it. I want to give you a few journal questions to consider as you think about how you can put this into practice in your life. Your first one is this. What do you love about your home? What's right? What's good? What are the things that you're grateful for? Write down a list of everything you can think about that you love about your home. All right, your second question is this. How does that change your perspective? How does it change your perspective when you intentionally focus your mind on everything you're grateful for as you wrote that list? As you begin to think about and consider and explore all of the ways that you love your home, all of the things that are right and awesome about it, all of the things that you're grateful for. How do you feel about it now? How does it change how you view your home when you set your mind to everything that you're grateful for? Write down your answer. And your third question is this. How can you practice being content in your home and in your life, in your situations right now? How can you practice contentment? What does that look like for you in a practical way? How can you remember that you have everything you need right now, right where you are? Write down your answer. All right, I would love to pray for us as we wrap up. God, thank you that every good and perfect gift comes from you, including our homes. Thank you that we have more than most. We have so much to be grateful for. And Lord, forgive us for the ways that we have been ungrateful, that we have been stressed or ungrateful or discontent or always focused on all the things we don't have, that we wish we had, that we want to have. Forgive us for the ways that we compare our lives and our homes and our things to other people that leads to envy or discontentment. God, help us have hearts of gratitude. Help us be grateful for everything you've given us, especially our homes. Thank you that you love us, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you all so much for joining me as always. And you can tune in next week for another episode of The Christy Wright Show. And for more encouragement on building confidence in yourself and the God that created you, you can visit ChristyWright.com.